Welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel, and in this video, which I have titled Academic Ignorance and Stupidity, part 26, I'll be showing you something really astounding, which will make you realize that the academic mainstream is really on the wrong track, has been on the wrong track, and continues to be on the wrong track. Now, if you had a function f of x, then you would have f dash of x if f of x is continuous. Yes? I bet you've thought that all your life, whether you're 65 years old or 20 years old or 80 years old, you believe that to be true. What does that say? It says that if f of x is continuous, then f prime of x is differentiable everywhere. Okay, well, I'm going to show you now an example of a function g of x, which is continuous nowhere, and g prime of x is differentiable everywhere. Wow! Differentiability implies continuity, doesn't it? Well, I bet you're dropping your jaw in disbelief right now, but you're about to stop laughing once I show you this. And not only am I going to show you an example of a function that does fit this criteria, but I'm going to show you how you can take any function f of x and derive the function g of x from it, so that g of x is continuous nowhere and g prime of x is differentiable everywhere. And this is possible, thankfully, to the stupidity of mainstream academia and the morons, the thousands of morons that came before me. And I'll reveal the stupidity in a moment. I'll just let you stew a little bit in suspense. So I guess there's nothing better than watching the evidence, is there? So let's go straight to it. So over here, what I'm telling you is that you can make g of x a function of f of x, continuous nowhere, and its derivative, g prime of x, differentiable everywhere. So let's see how that works. So f of x is this particular function here, which is represented by the blue curve, right? This is f of x. All I have to do to make g of x continuous nowhere is let it be equal to f of x and multiply it by 1. Isn't that marvelous? Yes, indeed. That's the stupidity of mainstream academia. So you could say g of x is equal to what? F of some k times x minus k over x minus k. Now, g of x is a function which is continuous nowhere. Okay, so it's continuous nowhere. Going back to the diagram, if we were to reveal g of x, this is g of x, and this tells you the value of g of x. It's undefined here, undefined everywhere. So it's actually not continuous anywhere. Okay, that's the function g of x. It's not continuous anywhere. Right. So if we hide f of x, come on, then it's easy to see, right? So you can move this along here, and g of x is continuous nowhere. But now, how about the derivative of g? So let's watch the derivative of g. There you go, that's the derivative of g, isn't it? Now watch this value down here. G of x defined everywhere. And yet, its primitive function, the red one, is defined nowhere. And so how can that be? Well, let's just say that the morons in mainstream academia have holes in their heads. That's just too funny. I do so enjoy exposing the stupidity of the morons in mainstream. It gives me such incredible pleasure, and I shall continue to do it. I shall viciously attack them and drag them down into the dirt where they belong, because most of them are dishonest, lying cowards that don't deserve to be in a classroom, that don't deserve to be dealing with any of this kind of knowledge whatsoever. And I loathe and despise them with a hatred that can't be described in words. So this should be a lot of egg in their faces, more than egg in their faces, a huge embarrassment, as Donald Trump would say, huge. Well, I'm really having so much fun, I feel guilty. Now, let's see. So, what's causing this? The fact that you supposedly multiply a fraction by 1, a function by 1, and get a function that is continuous nowhere. And at the same time, you get a derivative of that function, which is defined everywhere. I mean, if you look at this blue value down here, it's never undefined. Okay. Always defined. Now, let's just take that away. If I have to bring back y and do that, now all I have to do here to show you is that once these two spots overlap, then we have both functions undefined at that point. So not f of x, only the red function. The blue function is defined everywhere. But I did this on purpose to show you that if I move the 2 points over each other, then the red function is not defined there, and so supposedly, according to the academic mainstream idiots, there is a hole here in the red function, in this function. Okay, there is a hole. Come on. Right, so there is a hole over here according to them, because we multiplied by 1, this x minus k over x minus k. But in truth, the only holes are in their heads, and have always only been in their heads, and their inability, their ignorance, incompetence, arrogance, and sheer stupidity. They are unbelievably stupid, and they deserve to be ridiculed. So now I've just shown you that you can get a function which is continuous nowhere and differentiable everywhere. How? By taking that function, any function f of x, and multiplying it by 1. And defining it this way will make it continuous everywhere, continuous nowhere, and differentiable everywhere, which is in complete contradiction to the definition of differentiability. Okay, because in order to be differentiable, a primitive function must be continuous everywhere. So this would appear to imply that to suggest that differentiability does not imply continuity. How can that be? Well, you need to go to your mainstream moron lecturers and ask them to explain this to you. And obviously they'll have never heard of this before, because I haven't shared this knowledge with anyone before. This is the first time. But I feel it's time I need to do it, so I'm starting to make more of these videos where I'll expose more stupidity and ignorance in a lot more frequency. Well, this is the New Calculus channel, and I'm John Gabriel. I trust you have enjoyed this video. Join me again next time for another interesting video. Goodbye.